And just confirm for me with a thumbs up that you are hearing me clearly before I continue.
Yes, hearing you loud and clear.
Aye, Captain.
All right. Thank you for those folks. All right, so let's dive straight into it. I am seeing some new names here that we haven't come across in applications before, so I'm going to assume that this is your first time interfacing with this call. So essentially, the call is for what a project we have called the Live Music District, which essentially allows us to partner with event producers, event managers, promoters, and this is across whether you're producers of live events, restaurants, bars, hotels, etc., any venue that can perform live music. It is a subsidy, and let me stress on that again, it is a subsidy per artist. So it's $800 per artist, up to 25 artists that can be applied for. And we do have the option for hotels and bars, for example, that may have, let's say, a performance series once a month, every last Friday of the month or something like that. You can apply in terms of a series format, but it will still remain up to 25 performers and not cross that. So that is essentially what this call is going to provide you. And the subsidies can be applied to singers, musicians, and DJs. In the case of musicians, it does not have to be the frontline musician. It can also apply to your backline. Right, so we already spoke about basically who can apply, and this document is your Bible going forward into the application, right? This is the guidelines document. So you will and should read this first in order to fill out the actual forms. So it's for event producers, event managers, event promoters, artists, or their management teams who are putting on their own shows. Let's go into the eligibility requirements. So live music events taking place across Trinidad and Tobago during the period of the 1st of March to the 1st of June is what is eligible. Anything outside of that is ineligible. It can be a standalone event, as in a one-off show. For example, Nigel is here, so Jazz Artists on the Greens is a one-off show, or it can be an event series in what I just explained with the bars and hotels that may want just one performer or a group of performers last Friday of every month. The performers must be legal residents or citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And we are going to ask for proof of that. Reason being, of course, it's taxpayers' dollars. We cannot go paying other persons with this project. And the applicants, so whoever is applying for the money is who will receive the money. We are not going to be paying all the artists individually. So whoever is applying for it is the applicant and must be a legally registered entity. Whether you're a sole trader, so for example, the artists themselves, they want to have their own show. So in that case, they may be registered as a sole trader. An LLC, NGOs, etc., must be legally registered. And of course, you have to provide proof of that. And to not commingle funds and be against the law, your registered entity must have a registered bank account. So if you register as Zoom Incorporated, do not ask us to come after when the payment is to be made, or we have to receive invoices to pay it out to Lisa Badgal 23, because we will not be paying it to Lisa Badgal 23 because Zoom Incorporated is who we have the arrangement with, right? So applicants and proposed performers must be registered on the AMT Music Industry Directory. So MusicTT has a directory for the entertainment sector as it relates around the music industry. This is hosted on our website. We've made it very easy and provided the link in the document for you. So it's just a click and register. Some people aren't sure or can't remember if they registered or not before. You can do a search and see if you find your name. If your name is not there, then you just register. It's a very, very simple process. It should take you no more than about 5-10 minutes to do within the entire application. It is not as rigorous as the artist registry because this is literally just a directory. So what we do with this directory, for a little further context, is we boost this information, and then when we're also speaking to foreign buddies in other countries, we send them this directory as well. Some persons are looking to have like shows in Trinidad and Tobago, and they may want support staff within the music space, etc. We send them this directory as well so that they can search for those persons. So it will be in your best interest to actually register on that platform. We do a lot of Google ads in terms of boosting MusicTT and the website. So our pages are actually on topmost found in Google when you look for music in Trinidad and Tobago. So it will be beneficial for you to register on that. And either way, for this application, it is mandatory. So all applicants must create a profile on the Office of the Procurement Regulations Depository. You are required to provide your registrant number. So if you have not heard as yet, last year, April, the government of Trinidad and Tobago passed the legislation as it relates to procurement. And it basically states that any person or company or sole trader wanting to do business with government agencies or government-funded agencies must be registered on the OPR depository in order to receive funds. If you are not there, you cannot apply, you cannot receive funds. And just to give you a little more context on that, you will be quite surprised to know how many institutions are actually government funded outside of ministries and state agencies like ours. So that said, there are a lot of companies that are affected by this. And there are a lot of persons who find themselves in a quandary now, having to run to register their entities because they want government contracts, right? So that is a mandatory thing across the board. That is out of our hands. If you are not registered, you cannot receive government funding. So in this case, for this grant, we just require you at this stage to create a profile. Just create a profile, which is, again, very simple. It's going to take you 5 to 10 minutes. And if you choose to, play around with the system, it's pretty clear in terms of uploading your documents or whatever documents that you have available to support your company at the point in time. So, but again, for this purpose of this application, all we require you is to create a profile. We will probably follow up with you on a later date and help you build out the back end of your profile a little bit more. So because it becomes a little bit tricky in terms of lines of business and all of that. So again, for the third time, we just need you to create a profile. Do not get overwhelmed by the backend system when you see it, because you probably will if you decide to go in and tinker with stuff. When you create that profile, they're going to give you a registrant number, and that is the number that you will put in the application. Yeah. Performers. So I mentioned this earlier, performers constitute musicians, whether backline or featured, artists, whether backups or featured, and DJs. I will take questions at the end of the presentation, so feel free to either drop them in the chat or write them down if you want to ask them live. So this is the process. We want you to review all of the eligibility requirements above. Submit your completed application at the link provided here. There is also a performers information spreadsheet, which we have already laid out for you. So it's just for you to plug in the information at that link. Licenses like COTS, EMA, fire, police, etc. If it is applicable to your event, you will state that. And there are places where you can state that. However, we understand at the time of the application, you may not have those licenses in hand. So there is also the option for you to provide that at a later date, but it must be before your event. If it's not before your event, then we have problems. Okay, because you have to have these licenses in hand before your event anyway. The completed application must be submitted at a minimum of 10 days prior to the event. So don't come last minute and submit the application and then say, hey, my event is in 3 days. Will you approve it or what? Like, no, we're not going through that. That's headache. We have other projects to do. So be careful with the time limits that you are submitting. So the event date is the 1st of March, which is when the Live Music District officially opens for performances. Then your application should be in no later than the 18th of February, which is the closing date of this grant. Which leads us to the closing date and time again. So the 18th of February is the close for your applications at 4 p.m. So the applications are going to be approved and looked at on a first come, first served basis. What do we mean by that? As the application comes in during this period, because we have to have a quick turnaround on the projects that are starting March 1st and beyond, let me see a name here. If Dillian is the first person after this call to submit, her application will be reviewed right away. So she can know early o'clock whether or not she was approved or not, right? We will only contact persons who have been approved, whose applications has been approved, depending on the volume, if we receive a lot. So yeah, as the applications roll in, we will be evaluating the applications, and in about a week time or so, you should know if it is your application was approved or not. You're uploading all documents in PDF format unless otherwise specified. I think there are 2 areas where we've asked, I think, for JPEG or PNG, so that will be made clear in the application form. And please don't try to say you submitted before the deadline, because we're using these forms because it's going to carry a timestamp and it's going to say, hey, this person's skating at 11 o'clock in the night instead of 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So limitations of the funding. So government funding, let me explain the process, goes like this. So we have this grant, and let's say we select whoever the awardees are. We need to get an invoice from you right away. And the length of time, again, for that submission of invoice depends on you when you get it to us. So let's say everybody is, on top of their game. And as soon as we ask for invoices, everybody is able to furnish us with it. We now take these invoices and we have to compile them and send them to the Ministry of Trade. Ministry of Trade reviews it, asks us, if we have any other information to add, if they need more information from us, etc., for what the invoice is for. And after that, they compile it and send it to the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance reviews the invoices, which can take some time because it's all government bodies and all government-funded agencies that have to do this and send them bills. So they're going to take some time to review that. After which they're going to say, yes, we're going to release money for all of these things. They're going to send that communication back to Ministry of Trade, and they're also going to prepare the check. Preparing the check takes about 1 to 2 weeks after that communication has been received from them. Then Ministry of Trade is going to contact us and say, your check is ready to collect for the disbursement of the invoices that you have received, you've requested. So then MusicTT goes, we collect the check. That check is going to take a week to clear. And then we're able to now submit our bills, our invoices to our finance department. And our finance department is then going to prepare all of those checks, or in some people's cases, ACH payments directly to their bank account, which only happens at the end of a month. So around the 20th to the 25th thereabout is when they will prepare those funds to go out. So having said that, we already realized the process in itself has already taken like a month and a half. So to be safe, we say 90 days after the event. So this will essentially be a reimbursement to you. So note that upfront, this is not cash upfront, but this is a reimbursement to you for the tune of whatever funding we agree on. I mentioned the 25 performers already. Right, so the beneficiary is responsible for covering all other costs associated to successfully executing the event. MusicTT is not legally bound to accept any proposal. Any and all costs incurred by the applicant associated with the preparation of responses is entirely on the applicant and not chargeable to MusicTT. This call, again, is only open to Trinidad and Tobago nationals, residents, or legally registered companies. Awards will be dispersed in Trinidad and Tobago dollars only, and applications must be submitted at a minimum of 10 days prior to the event. The applicant is responsible for all licenses, fees, and clearances with respect to the event. So the expectations, so MusicTT is going to promote your event. In addition to awarding you the funds, we will be promoting your event. We will have a lovely calendar. We have a calendar of events on our website that we do boost, Google ads as well as the Facebook ads, etc., Facebook, Instagram ads, and so forth. So your event is going to be boosted. We will be posting the flyers, of course, which must have the LMD logo. We do not require that you have the LMD and the MusicTT logo, just the LMD logo. So upon your award, we will give you the logo to place on your materials. Right? Right, so the invoice here, we're asking for the invoice within 2 days after award confirmation, complimentary tickets, and this is for our team to be able to attend. And there's also a part where we, in submitting our information, have to give proof that the event actually happened. So this in collaboration with you providing us with photos after the event within 2 weeks is an absolute necessity. So even if you don't have a photographer for your event, you can take some phone photos, etc. I mean, phone photos are really good depending on what type of phone you have. So yeah, we do need to receive that, as well as, I'm skipping around a little bit, sorry. Provide an invoice for the specified amount. I said that. Provide a confirmed listing of performers 7 days prior to the event. So this is a little bit flexible because I know, we know there's a case where some people might drop out, some people might be replaced as a result, or you may just be hounding for that last performer within the 2-3 days. We understand that. But ideally, 7 days prior to the event is when you should submit that listing of performers. And of course, that listing of performers needs to be registered on the MusicTT directory. I mentioned including. Right, and this is what I mentioned earlier in terms of us promoting via different channels, paid and unpaid. We will also share to other government ministries like Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts, community development, etc., for them to share to their followership. All right, so that is the end of this open call guidelines here. Now we're going to take a look at the open call itself. These guidelines here are going to reiterate some of the key points that are listed in the guideline document itself. And this is this updated upload document checklist is basically for you to know that these are the things that you're expected to upload within this form ahead of time, so that there are no surprises later on. This is giving permission for you to submit on behalf. So if you're submitting as an LLC, we want to know that you have permission to submit on behalf of the company, because there would be other persons involved. It won't be just you. All of this. So the name of the applicant here, some people, it specifically says this will be the liaison, and some people just submit other names, and then when we try to call them and get in contact with them, we can't. Whoever this name is that is going here must be able to receive the phone calls and must check their emails that is provided, because we will communicate a lot via email. I am applying in the capacity of, and of course you click whichever one is most applicable to you. We understand that everybody doubles in roles, and maybe an artist manager as well as an event producer, as well as this and that and the other, but whichever one is most applicable to you regarding this form is what you're going to pick. Name of company, type of registration you're going to infer. This is where you insert the OPR registrant number after registering on the OPR and creating the profile. How long the company has been in existence, etc. All of these are self-explanatory, so I'm just going to roll forward. For those who came in on the call late, banking details. Again, if you are applying and the name of your company is Zoom Incorporated, we don't want to see that when you send the invoice, it says Dillian, or it says Hot Gal 23, or whatever else. It must relate to the company's name. So you must have a bank account in your company's name. And there is a provision here, if the name of the company that is on the account is not Zoom Inc., you would notice, please identify doing business as or trading as. So if you say the name of the company is Zoom Inc., but your bank account is saying how do you pronounce that? Carmely Industries, then you're going to want to put that you're trading as Carmely Industries. The social handles, to be clear, we do not want links. We just want the @ whatever. So we can just paste it for our marketing team that is on the call here. We can just paste it and put it into the relevant captions, etc. when we're promoting your work. Scrolling through. Right, so most important section about the event. The total project cost. What does the entire project cost? This includes all facets of your event budget. So this is not just the performer side of things, but we generally just want to get an idea of what the overall. So you don't have to list your suppliers, because I know everybody likes to keep their prices close to their heart in terms of what they're actually paying to whoever. So you can just put audiovisual, this amount of money, venue, this amount of money, whatever. So just, you can generalize it that way. If you feel comfortable and you're going to say suppliers or whatever, that's totally up to you. The MusicTT project cost must be equal to the performer's expense budget. So in this budget here of total project cost, you might have performers' budget costing, let's say, 100,000. In the MusicTT project cost, remember, we are only awarding up to 25 performers, so that is up to $20,000. So you're going to want to put who those 25 persons are specifically, because remember, again, they do have to be registered on the MusicTT directory. So you're going to put who those 20 performers are. If you don't have 20 performers, that is totally fine. Your event might call for 5 persons, 10 persons, whatever. You put those persons' names and etc. Right. This is a reminder that all persons need to be registered on the directory. So the type of event. Is it a standalone event like Jazz Artists on the Greens? Is it a series event, a 2-series event, or a 3-series event? And what is meant by that? You may opt, in the case of a hotel, to have live performance on the last Friday of every month for 2 months. If it's 2 months, then that's a 2-series event. If it is 3 months, that is a 3-series event. You may also opt, in the case of bars, maybe to do every other week. So again, but we only awarding up to 2 or 3 days of events. What the event name is what you're inserting here. Event date or event schedule dates in the case of multiple events. Start time, end time, location, expected number of patrons. So this helps us in our reporting. This helps us in our reporting to know what is your expected patrons, your audience. Your overview of the event in a nutshell, tell us what the event is about. Event objectives, what is the intention? What do you hope to achieve? I would say just list 3 points, not 4 and 5 and 6, just give 3 points of what is the event objective. And if it's purely commercial, you can say that as well. The target audience, who are you targeting? Who do you hope will attend? If you have any VIPs attending, you would need to let us know. In the case of some of the high profile events, etc., We may opt to invite our minister as well if you have other ministers and ambassadors, etc., attending. So that is what this information is for. That's what we're going to use that for. Who's your master of ceremony, if any? How will the event be promoted? And this again is more of a survey type thing for us, just for our general knowledge. We want to know where people are spending their money in terms of promoting their concerts. Is media it's expected to attend? And proof that the applicant has organized at least 2 music events previously over the last 5 years. So if this is your first time organizing a show, more than likely you will be much lower down the totem pole of being awarded, because we want to know that is going to happen and that you have the capacity and wherewithal to do it. So in this case, we've provided the link to bit.ly for a link shortener. You can use another link shortener if you prefer something else. And you just paste the links to previous flyers and event photography or recap videos that you may have had, etc. And we will review those. So as mentioned earlier, you have 2 budgets. You have the overall budget and you have the MusicTT performers budget that you're requesting. So we have a budget template that you are required to use. So that link is right here for you. And both budgets are on that same sheet. So you just pick, you just put the information in that one document. And then you download and you upload the file here. Right, so before submitting your application, please check that the following components is satisfied. You have the performer information spreadsheet. And this is what I was talking about earlier. If you do not have the full listing of the performers information, etc., at the point in time, then you can simply click "Will complete later" when all information is available, right? And you upload. Same thing for the event flyer, the registration, the music industry directory, and your letters of recommendation. So you have to get 2 letters of recommendation. Now, in the past, we've had people who've had multiple personalities, and they would write letters for themselves. If they are a producer, they're writing, saying that, and endorsing themselves and submitting. That is a no-no, because then we're gonna automatically think that you're cray-cray, okay? The recommendation letters should come from previous partners or sponsors, etc., of events that you've had and can endorse your work and, you know, basically give us the reassurance that yes, this person not just gonna do some sort of scam and run away with the money and not pay the artists and all of that jazz, right? This is relation to the performers, a proof of Trinidad and Tobago citizenship. So with this, you're going to compile, as the note says below. So you're going to collate all into one PDF. Do not send us 25 PDFs of performers. Collate all the photos into one PDF and send that one PDF with all 25, if you're applying for 25 persons, into one document, okay? Either way, the system won't allow you to upload 25 pieces. So licenses, again, so completed, if it's uploaded right away, later, as in you're submitting later, or it may not be applicable to you. So some venues have their own blanket copyright license, so you don't have to get any. Please make sure and find out the license that you have to get for your event in advance. We have listed here fire, police, liquor, dance hall, and EMA, etc. And this last bit is a declaration. So you read through all the information here and you consent to file this application, agreeing to everything that was stated in the guidelines document as well as this document. So I am going to stop here. If anybody has, I will look at the chat and see if there are any questions posted there. Otherwise, if you would like to ask them live, that is also an option. So Liam asked, does every artist need to register or an organization can register all that covers, and that covers all the artists? No. So what we're trying to build with the directory is we want a directory database of all music industry personnel. So whether that be actually, sorry, I shouldn't say music industry personnel, entertainment personnel. So that's going to help the whole ecosystem in putting on shows. So whether that be lighting, audio, whoever. But in the case of artists, yes, all artists has to be individually registered. It's not going to take them long. Individually register them, as well as your company, the company that is making the application. MCs considered performers? No. So you will see in the opening document of the guidelines who is eligible to be performers, and that is musicians, singers, and DJs are who we consider performers. Remind me again, would I be able to apply? Yes, Nigel, you will. The funds are cleared 90 days after application or event date. Also, would confirmation of funding be provided before the event or only after the ministry reviews the invoice? So that is 90 days after your approval of your event. Actually, no, sorry, let me correct myself. That is after your event has taken place. We will give you a letter confirming that we are legally committing to provide you with these funds. So you will have that assurance. It's not just going to be some random conversation or an email. You will have that in writing that we are committing to XYZ so and so amount. And the agreement between us is that you do this, we do that. It's going to be a simple one-pager. Okay, thank you, Marty. So it is going to be one application per company. Okay, yes, I see. I read that wrong, but thank you, Marty, for that clarification. But yes, Nigel, if it can be for jazz artists, it can be for another event that you are producing otherwise out of jazz artists. So yes. Liam, I answered your question. Yes. Sorry for doing that. Okay, Jesse. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything was unclear? I think it's a pretty simple and straightforward application. It's very easy to complete once you have all the information.
Melissa, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, if I understand it now, I apply for Jazz Artists and Degrees and I have a second event in April. I make a second application.
Yes.
Okay, one. Two, the paperwork that you're requiring this time, is it more than what happened last time? Last year, 2023? Same basic things.
The only addition is the OPR registrant number.
We did that, yes.
And
you have to finally do it.
And making it mandatory that your company must be legally registered.
We have that. What about the artist? You're asking for some ID, because last time it was just a matter of getting an ID number. Do you want a physical, a copy of the IDs, as proof of residency?
Yes.
So we have copies now to make up IDs and driver's permits.
Yeah, just let them take
Effectively.
pictures and send it to you.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much.
Easiest way to compile it. Any
Hi,
other
good
questions?
afternoon. Yeah,
Hi.
sorry for joining so late. My question is not really based on my company, but on another organization, a non-profit organization. Will they be able to apply even if they recently registered as an NGO and they will be hosting a gospel concert in July, please God. I'm not too sure if I would have missed anything at the beginning regarding the period in which they could apply. Will that be possible?
No, so the ending date is the 1st of June for all
Oh,
events. Yes.
for all events. Okay.
Yes.
All right, no problem.
Because MusicTT is so small, we can't manage anything past that because we have our music conference. If some of you don't know, this is our 4th year for the music conference Reverb Experience, and that takes place from the 3rd to the 5th of July. So it's a all hands on deck that way. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Thanks.
Rochelle? No problem.
Yes, I was wondering, how many pieces of identification do you need per performer?
Just one.
Okay, and in the event of an underage performer, what would you require then?
You should get parental permission.
Only, but no form of ID?
That's a good question. We've never had an underage performer. There is no space in the application for underage performers, so I will say to send the extra information in terms of the parent or guardian giving consent and the parent's ID.
Okay.
Send the parent's ID, yeah, and send that via if it's just that one underage performer in a group of otherwise adults, then send that information to us at info@musictt.gov.tt when you're completing your application.
Okay then. Thanks.
Anybody else has any questions?
Not a question, but I just want to endorse the program. For those who now joining on, I am one of the persons who would have been a part of this program previously, and it worked really well. So I would encourage persons to join in and partake and stuff like that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being.
That's a paid announcement.
But now I'm convinced already after that endorsement.
I promise you it was not a paid endorsement, but thank you so much.
Melissa, I'm just confirming on what you said, that a company can apply for multiple applications during this cycle. Is that the policy, or are we keeping it to one application per cycle?
If it's compelling enough and far apart enough, and if we have more funding available for it, depending on the number of applications, then yeah, we won't have a problem doing that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. I just wanted to know, I also joined in a bit late. And I see that it's being recorded. So I just wanted to know if we would have just gone through the application or if there were any other inquiries that were covered earlier on in the meeting.
Yes, we did go through the guidelines handbook, and we went through the application.
Okay.
And we will be posting this to YouTube and
Okay,
Facebook.
great. All right, great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And everybody who did register will get a direct copy of this to see it on YouTube in case you don't see it on our social media.
Yeah. Nigel?
Well, I think just Martin, confirm for me, well, Martin and Melissa, sorry, one application for the cycle, because the cycle is only 3 months, as I understand it. Or can I have a second application in that 3-month period?
So confirming that you can apply for the two.
Mhm.
However, we do want to make sure and spread it across everyone that is actually eligible in terms of their applications. So the second application, you could tell us which one takes precedence. We will review once there is enough funding, because we may not have had enough applicants, etc. So
Do you
yeah.
have an idea of the amount of the total pool for this cycle? Is it 20,000 by 10 or something so?
I cannot remember the figure off the top of my head, to be quite honest.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and check that.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. Rochelle?
Yes, I was wondering, I saw that you mentioned that you wanted to know how long the applicant has been functioning as a business, because you expect that they're registered as a business, right? Is that going to affect anything in the decision-making process?
So it's gonna give some weight if you've been around and doing events. You know, you have a track record, which is gonna lean towards, there's a question in the application about how many events you've done, if you've done 2 or more. And you've done them successfully, then yes, it's gonna weigh a little bit. But no, not really.
I was wondering, as a person who has executed events within the past year and within the last 5 or 6 years, but as an unregistered business. And now I'm wondering what the criteria would be apart from that. But if I get registered soon enough, I would still be considered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can make mention of that in your application as well. So wherever there's a space for narrative about your event or whatnot, you can insert a line there saying that, you know, you've previously executed blah, 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 blah on your own as an individual, and recently registered your company and now doing stuff under that name. So
Right.
just make, you know, just add that in somewhere so that we will see.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Anybody else has any questions? All right. So if not, thank you so much, folks, for being here with us and going through this information. As we said, we will make this link available to you, so you can review what was said if you need any assistance in the application. Any questions further that pops up after this, you're sending it to info@musictt.gov.tt, and we will respond there officially. Okay, so thank you so much and have a great afternoon.